Today is August 25th and it's currently 3:55 p.m. Eastern time. There's about 5 minutes remaining in the cash open. So I'm looking at the daily chart for Affirm Holdings, ticker symbol AFRM. And looking at the daily chart, obviously there's this momentum towards the upside since leaving this level right here on July 19th. And from my earlier review, what I did was I did identify this as a local support level for Affirm, considering that even though price dipped below it, price quickly returned and went above it. And here it's provided as a valid support level. And looking at Affirm, there's not really a long trading history. This stock started trading back in January of this year, and subsequent to its IPO, price quickly shot up to $146 from opening on January 13th at $90. But since reaching its high, obviously we could see from this chart that price came all the way down and reached $46.50 by May. But since then, price has been gradually stair-stepping its way back up. So here we have a low and then a higher low, right? So that's a good sign. Price is trying to get back up to maybe initially, back to where it opened, back here at the $90 level, so which would put it about $20 away. So now that this is a support level, I did identify a resistance level for Affirm, and this was at 75.85. Right, so we could see that price was rejected here, right? So price did get over it, and came right back down. Here, the resistance here was support here, because price just, you have these cluster of days where price just couldn't get below it, but after multiple attempts, not that the stock wanted to come down here, I'm sure, but because the market was saying, you know what, it had to go lower. So then finally just fell down, and has been down here since what is this, March 23rd. So since then, it's just been going sideways, but because of recent buzz involving Apple and Square and so on, it's piqued a lot of interest with a lot of retail investors. So maybe by the time price gets above this level, this level would eventually make it through and then stay above it, where now it's proving to be support. But there's still enough time. I think there's still plenty of time before all of this happens. So if what I'll do is I'll just throw a channel up here just to visualize, some strength or weakness with this recent price action. So I'm going to use these levels as a conservative, because even though price came below the support level here, price was respected here, and price went above it, came right back down, right? So these minor deviations I think are pretty, are acceptable or standard. I wouldn't say standard, but reasonable here as well. So price did get above the resistance level, but didn't stay above it, came right back down, retested it again, and then here it just couldn't get above it any further. So this to me is a valid uptrend or channel, right? So if this does play out accordingly and price just ranges inside this channel, as price gets higher, it still has to deal with this $75 level. So because of all the interest, maybe there's enough momentum to push it over. But even if price does get over back here, right? So this is these red hash lines represents expiration Friday for option contracts. So that's the bell. The market's now closed. It's 4 o'clock. So even if the price gets above this level here by September 17th, I don't think it could go any higher because it has to deal with this resistance level. So it's dealing with two resistance level, right? So maybe price stays up here for a little bit and then eventually, goes sideways and then comes right back down. And then at that point, now this support level would maintain this structure. Even though price could come down, the structure is still valid. So if price does come down after September or between September 17th and October 15th, right, that's the next expiration Friday. So if price comes down here or just right here, this level is still in the price's future, right? So as it continues higher, price is going to keep ranging, but eventually it's going to get narrower as this apex towards this level here. So the critical point would be around November 15th-ish, so give or take a few weeks. But this would be, I think, the critical area, because what's going to happen is that price would eventually get above it and then stay above it, right? So instead of being resistance, now this becomes a valid support level for Affirm, right? Because it could, once it gets over it, price could continue staying above this support level, or worst case scenario, price goes sideways, right? It consolidates because all of this upward momentum, now it has to catch its breath before continuing on. So that would be the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. The doomsday scenario we can't rule out is that price stays up here, and then ultimately between October 15th and November, I can't read that, but November, so the November contracts, November 19th, right? So these are the expiration Friday contracts. So come November 19th, price could come down. So this would be the doomsday scenario, right? Gets fully rejected and price comes down. If it does come down, I don't think it's going to come down to 55. So it would be somewhere in the middle. So let's say 66, right? So price here comes down, well, not immediately down, but slowly falling down here, and stays along 66, consolidates before making another attempt at 75. So that would be the doomsday scenario. And as an option trader, I'm going to say that that's what's going to happen. I think price is going to stall out mid-October, early November, and come down this way towards 66. I hope I'm wrong, but in any case, if it does, I mean, this is what I'm going to be looking for come October 15th, because again, I'm bullish on the stock, right? But as an options trader, if it does go on the downside, then of course I'm going to buy puts, right? Because I want to take advantage of the downturn, and it's only in August, right? With what we have 3 days. Well, after today, we only have 2 days remaining for the month of August before September rolls around. So I'm already planning, my strategies as to how I should trade Affirm when price gets to this area, right? Or what happens around this area. So I'm giving myself enough time so this way I can plan it out. And the reason I do this is because option contracts, right? So right now, if I'm anticipating a drop in Affirm, right, that this entire structure is going to fail sometime in October and before November, I'm already shopping for put contracts. Puts are right here. Puts are similar to shorting, or you have a bearish sentiment in the security. So I'm already shopping around for, in case Affirm does drop and it drops back to 60, 65, it's going to cost me right now $5.60 per contract, which would equate to $560 per contract. So should I buy into it now? Well, in options, we have time is a key factor in dealing with options, because there is time decay, right? So if you pick the right direction, you still need to factor in time. So I could be buying this contract, and if time doesn't, when time comes around for this contract to expires and price is nowhere near my strike price, this contract could go worthless if I don't do anything about it. So that's why, I'm planning for the worst case scenario. Even though I'm bullish, right? I haven't bought any calls yet, because there's this key factor here, right? Because I'm thinking that price could get, it could get above it, but it might have a hard time staying within these two levels here, right? So could it be a short-term trade? Sure, but you know what? Price could roll over tomorrow, right? So I don't want to get into a contract just yet. I would rather see how price is going to get tested here, and then I'll reassess before I jump into a trade. So again, best case scenario, overall trend is up. Worst case scenario is that it maintains structure, but then eventually goes sideways at a higher level. Worst case scenario is that price, has a difficult time staying above 75, and then comes down, gets fully rejected. The market loses interest, or whatever the reason, price comes down between October and November. So that's my plan. That's my outlook, and that's my time horizon. So until something else changes, I'll probably do another update as we head into October. And by then, the entire thesis could be out the window, and things are so off the charts or off the rails that I would have to scrap this whole thing. So until then, more to follow.